Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Myotismon Saga Super Review, or the Valemon Saga, or Draculamon, which is pretty much what he is. I super enjoyed revisiting this story arc. Was it as good as I remember? Let's dive right in. So, the Etemon Saga left off with Etemon defeated and Tai Chi appearing in the human world. Barely any time had passed in between entering the digital world and Tai Chi returning to the human world, and we learn that time does indeed move differently in the digital world. Then Tai Chi returns to the digital world as he realises there are Digimon appearing in the human world causing havoc. He must return to the digital world to fix the issues. Thus we enter the Myotismon Saga. After Tai Chi returns to the digital world, he finds Tokamon, but no Takeru. What could have happened? Takeru is with Pico Devimon or Devimon. Tokamon then gets us up to date. Basically, everybody split up after Tai Chi left. Even Yamato left Takeru eventually, as they found an amusement park and came to a lake, so Yamato crossed to the other side on a swan boat to find out what was there, but he never came back. Then, as Takeru and Tokamon waited and waited, Devimon appeared and filled Takeru's head with dark thoughts and turned him against Tokamon. What a little devil. Come on, Takeru, he is literally called Devimon, so you're pretty darn stupid for falling for his tricks. Although he is 4 years old? So, Tai Chi and Tokamon do find Takeru and they make up, and then Patamon kicks Devimon's arse, and everything is good again. It's kind of interesting seeing the rookie forms of Angemon and Devimon fighting it out. And we see Myotismon, or the very ominous outline of Myotismon, for the first time. A good introduction to the saga. We are teased Myotismon and probably introduced to Devimon, who will play a huge part for the whole saga. Note how scared Devimon is of Myotismon. He's the rookie form of our first villain Devimon, and him being the scared henchman of our new villain serves to hype up this new threat pretty well. It's a good technique. It's a good storytelling technique. Also note that Devimon name drops light as he informs Myotismon that the Crest of Hope has regained its light. And it is the Crests of Hope and Light that are the two most dangerous crests to Myotismon. Even though a big portion of this story arc will focus on Hikari and the Crest of Light, it's both crests that ultimately allow for our eventual mega evolutions to appear in the final encounter. And then we move on to the next Digidestined duo, Yamato and Joe. They were tricked into working in Digitamamon's restaurant. Joe keeps messing up and increasing the debt they owe to Digitamamon, which stresses Yamato out because he wants to get back to Takeru. Eventually he gets super angry at Joe and he blames him for everything. Oh, how mean. But we do get the return of Harmonica Yamato, oh yeah. And then Tai Chi and Takeru show up at the restaurant. Tai Chi suggests running away, but Yamato doesn't want Joe going with them, because this whole experience has made him hate Joe. But when Devimon shows up, Takeru and Tai Chi reveal him as the bad guy, revealing his plot in all this. He has been faking Joe's mess-ups, and he even tried to convince Yamato that Joe was doing it on purpose. So everyone is back on the same side, and a fight ensues between the gang and the ultimate level Digitamamon. And when Joe saves Takeru's life, Yamato realises he'd been too harsh on Joe, regretting the terrible things he said, and the crest of friendship glows. Who's ready for Rare Garudamon, baby? He saves the day. This episode was great for character development for Yamato. And then we get another golden episode as we continue the Digidestined discovering their ultimate Digivolutions. The Mega Kabuterimon episode. Devimon fools Koshiro and Tentomon into falling into a pit, and Koshiro hears an ominous voice, telling him that he will go to hell if he desires to know everything, and that he must throw away his inquisitive nature, even though Tentomon likes his inquisitive side. And we meet Valemon, the bad guy. Koshiro does actually throw away his inquisitiveness, and he basically joins the Church of Scientology. Aha, so Valemon created Scientology. It all makes sense now. As opposed to the other story arcs we've gone through so far, the bad guys in this saga so far aren't actually minions of the big bad for the season. Digitamamon and Valemon don't work for Motusmon. They are independent bad guys that challenge the Digidestined anyway. And then Devimon manipulates the situation to benefit him and Myotismon. Just like in this episode, Devimon wants Koshiro's crest, but he has to bribe Valemon to get it, because Valemon doesn't work for him. Anyway, Tentomon ends up de-digivolving, and it's really sad, as Koshiro neglects him, but not all hope is lost, as Pabumon's bubble snapped Koshiro out of it. And then he overhears Valemon and Devimon, and he regains his inquisitive heart, and then the fight with Valemon begins. And Kabuterimon digivolves into Mega Kabuterimon, or Ultra Kabuterimon, and he defeats Valemon no problem at all, and they escape, and they run into Yamato and Takeru. This episode was great, so much better than its 2020 counterpart, that's for sure. I love these episodes where the Digidestined are basically undergoing trials related to their crest to then achieve the ultimate level Digivolution. It's exactly what it needs to be. And then the Princess Mimi episode. Sadly, no Digivolution here, just character development. Mimi is being treated like a princess, of course. The Gekumon are serving Mimi in their castle because they want her to awaken their boss. Tono-sama Gekumon? Yeah? Tono-sama Gekumon, that's it. He won't awaken unless he hears her voice singing. And the song she sings is, I think it's the outro to the series? Good stuff. And this is kind of a comedy episode where we see Taichi and Joe take turns trying to sing to wake up Tono-sama Gekumon, but they don't sound any good at all. Also, we see Sora in the background for some reason. She's actually been following them around since the first episode, making sure that things go well, like their guardian angel. How strange. Anyway, Mimi learns her lesson because she'd been being mean to her friends and her loyal subjects. So she decides to wake Tono-sama Gekumon up and leave with her friends. However, Tono-sama Gekumon is actually a bad guy, so the fight begins. But we don't get a Lilymon this episode, unfortunately, like I said. So Metal Greymon takes care of the issue. And then we get the Sora's episode, because she's the only one left. And we finally see Myotismon for the first time, or Valemon if you're Japanese. He is like a cross between Dracula and Dio, I guess? Could he actually be inspired by Dio? Let's run the numbers. This series, 1999. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the manga, 1987. Whoa. And the first anime adaptation of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure was in 1993. So yeah, it's definitely possible. Anyway, the gang do find Sora, and she reveals to them what their crests mean, because she had overheard Devimon talking to Motusmon. Sora's crest is the crest of love, and she thinks it doesn't fit her because she doesn't have any love. So, obviously this episode is about her accepting that she is lovey-dovey after all. And more crying, oh man. Luckily, nowhere near as much crying as ReZero. Have you seen that anime? Oh boy. Every episode is 20 minutes of people crying. Now that the Digidestined have reunited, Valemon heads to confront them. Devimon attacks Indra and Pyramon, and then Modusmon arrives, in super dramatic fashion, acting like he's Dracula. But we all know the real Dracula is Mimi, of course. Anyway, Myotismon beats everyone down because he's an ultimate level and they're not. But then Sora has an epiphany. She realises that her mum, not letting her do what she wanted in the past, is because her mum loves her and doesn't want her to get hurt. Which is how she feels about Pyramon right now. So, love! And Bergermon digivolves to Garudamon. Good stuff. Garudamon attacks Motusmon and then takes the Digidestined and escapes, hinting that maybe Garudamon wasn't strong enough to take out Motusmon, but without actually showing it. And then we get a huge hint about the story for this arc. A massive dark cloud expands towards them, and we hear Myotismon warn them that they can't defeat him with just the power of the 7 Digidestined. Wait a minute, 7? So if 7 Digidestined aren't enough, would 6 be enough? No, wait, of course it wouldn't. And we get the return of Genai. My boy, my big man, Genai. Very pog. Is it Genai or Genai?
Genai-san ga! Genai's back! He wants to speak to us!
He reveals that there should be an 8th Digidestined. Oh shit! They need the 8th Digidestined so that they can repair the distortions in both the digital world and the human world. Genai doesn't know who the 8th child is, but he does know that the child is in Japan, and that Myotismon already knows about the 8th child, and is raising an army to invade Japan, i.e. the human world, to kill the 8th child. And then we get Punk Agumon and Reggae Palmon. Oh my. This is all part of their plan to sneak into Motusmon's castle. Ah, fuck. Let's just skip this part, shall we? And then we see Gatomon for the first time, or Tailmon. Neko Punch. And, oh shit, the gate to the human world is in Myotismon's castle. And of course he has a castle. He is Dracula. Thinking about it, Mimi had a castle in the Princess Mimi episode. And Myotismon enters the human world. The Digidestined seem set to follow him, but Gatomon kicks all of their asses, and then the door closes behind her. Myotismon has invaded the human world, and the Digidestined are still stuck in the digital world, which is pretty much the worst case scenario.
Let me in! Let me in!
And then the gang finally meet Genai for real, in person, as they go to his cool underwater house. So the way to open the human world is through a card game. Actually, I think Motusmon did do this to get through the gate. So, they need to work out what order the cards go in. Everyone puts their trust in Taichi as the leader of the group. And Taichi, shown how smart he is, leaves it up to Koshiro to do the card thing. Good choice. And Koshiro actually does manage to work it out. Except for the last card, there are 2 interchangeable cards. Which one is the right card? Taichi tries to decide between these 2 cards as the gang fight off a spider Digimon. And then it seems like Taichi randomly chooses Gomamon, and it works, and the gang head through the gate. They made it to the human world, yay! And then Taichi reveals that the reason he didn't choose Agumon's card was because he wanted to keep it. And because of digital timey-wimey, it's still the day that everyone went to the school camp in the first episode. We find Myotismon avoiding the sun, just like a real vampire, and he leaves the task of finding the 8th child to Gatomon. Gatomon beats up a dog, because she's the best, and she's a badass. But she's having a hard time finding the 8th child, so Myotismon makes copies of the Crest of Light, so that the rest of his goons can help find the 8th child. It makes sense, actually, very sensible, very smart. He gets my vote. Oh boy, this is when we find out that all the Digidestined lived in Hikari Gouga at some point, which is where the movie happened. Omoshiroi. Almost like there's some sort of Digi-destiny about the whole thing. And then we get the music from the movie. There's some kind of music-themed conspiracy going on here. Well, the music is happening while they mention the events of the movie, so that makes sense. But it all hints that the events of the movie are important to this saga. Anyway, the Digidestined encounter Mammon, or Mammothmon. Luckily, the people around them just think he's an elephant. And then everyone remembers what happened in the movie, or at least Takeru does. Everyone moved away because of a bombing, but we know that actually, it wasn't a bombing, it was a battle between Greymon and Poweredmon, the events of the first movie. And all these kids saw it, which led to them becoming the Digidestined. Haha, the gang figured this out as they fight Mammon, or Mammothmon. Annoyingly, even though it is mentioned that Hikari was there, they don't realise that Hikari is the 8th child. But they will, in time. Also to note, Koromon doesn't remember the event. Could it have actually been a different Koromon? Perhaps that's why the Agumon and the Greymon in the movie were different sizes to the Agumon and Greymon that we know. Oh man, all of the episodes have been good so far, and the plot is really heating up. I wasn't sure how it was going to be with the first half being in the digital world and the second half being in the human world. And it is quite a long story arc. Like, going into it already knowing that the main story starts in the human world, I was worried that the first half was going to be boring, but it's actually been really, really good. Oh my god, it's Wizardmon! Also, Skullmeramon, who is pretty badass. Oh yeah, one more thing to note. Hikari's name is literally in Hikari Gouka. Come on guys, figure it out. So the gang take turns trying to hitchhike home. Yamato gets an answer immediately by an older, very suspicious lady. Oh boy, that's pretty creepy. And then Sora and Mimi get an answer by a guy who offers them candy, which is also fucking creepy. God damn it, Japan. This hitchhiking thing reminds me of the Digimon Adventure 02 movie, where the 02 team try hitchhiking in America, which was probably a reference to this, I would imagine. And then Koromon poops in the car. So of course the creepy dude thinks that one of them actually had a shit inside his car, because as far as he knows, Koromon is just a teddy bear. So he gets angry and he knocks Koshiro off a bridge. Oh boy. Luckily, Tentomon saves him, but then a massive squid Digimon, Gessamon, appears. But then Ikakumon makes short work of him, and they ride off into the sunset on Ikakumon's back. Oh shit, the next episode is a Rareimon episode. Oof. Taichi wonders if Hikari is the 8th child. Good. And we see the Digivice. We, the audience, are definitely meant to know that she is the 8th child. And oh shit, the Digivice is gone. And we have a really super touching moment of Taichi hugging his parents. Meanwhile, their cat goes on an adventure. To retrieve the Digivice. Good cat. Who's ready for flashback time with Koshiro, baby? Koshiro is adopted. Whoa, that's some heavy shit. Tackling those real-world issues. Was this even mentioned in Adventure 2020? No, it wasn't. Oh yeah, by the way, the cat's name is Miko. Isn't the girl in Digimon Adventure Tree called Mako? And she also has a cat Digimon, just like Hikari, called Mako. Coincidence? I think not. And I am actually loving this mini side adventure of Miko and the Digivice. Rareimon attacks, but everyone is asleep, so it's up to and Tentomon to be the heroes. And they do, while Koshiro does find a trace of the 8th child, which in this case isn't actually the child, it's just the Digivice. He sadly doesn't find it. It gets taken away by a crow. But he realises that this means the 8th child must be in their city, rather than back in Hikari-Goka. However, Devimon also finds this out, and reports this to Myotismon. And then Kabuterimon makes real short work of Rareimon. Then we have a really weird moment where Myotismon actually charms a human woman and drinks her blood. It's obviously a Dracula thing, but he's a Digimon. Did he actually drink human blood? Well, we're probably not meant to think too much about it. Then the gang meet up, and Taichi brings attention to the fact that when he was in the the human world, back at the end of the Etemon arc, only he and Hikari could see the Digimon. But this time, other people can see them. Is it because these Digimon came through the gate? And then Motusmon and his gang arrive at the Digidestin's hometown, which I think is Ariake. He's here to search for the 8th Digidestined, while the Digidestined themselves are also searching for her. And then Hikari meets Tailmon. Oh man, things are happening. Now Hikari can tell that Tailmon is a Digimon, but Tailmon pretends to be a normal cat. It's pretty hilarious. She follows Hikari home. Oh man, there's so much going on at once. Each episode has its own focus, but there are other things happening at the same time. Other plot points being furthered, all moving towards the finale. This episode is a Mimi and Sora episode, but we still see what the other Digidestined are doing. It's good. Skullmeramon. Skullmeramon is a badass, and another fight breaks out. Oh, the Japanese name is Deathmeramon. That's much cooler. Actually, both names are cool. And it's Metal Greymon versus Deathmeramon. Well, Metal Greymon just completely destroys Deathmeramon incredibly easily. That's a shame, poor dude. And Gatomon flees from Hikari, although she does consider that maybe Hikari is the 8th child. Then, episode 33, is the Pumpmon and Godsmon episode. Prepare your hearts, people. So, Yamato is taking Takeru home. They live apart because their parents are divorced. Takeru actually lives in a separate city, or a separate district. Everything is in Tokyo, but Tokyo is massive and Tokyo is split into many cities. So, most of the Digidestined live in Koto City, specifically Ariake, although they used to all live in Hikari-Goka, which is in Nerima City. However, Takeru and their mother live in Setagaya City, so Yamato is taking him home on the train. But then Takeru and Patamon have an argument. Patamon accuses him of being sad when him and Yamato are not together, so Takeru gets upset and shouts at Patamon. So Patamon flies away. Oh boy, Takeru and Patamon are both still kids. It's kind of interesting though, Patamon flying away actually gives Yamato and Takeru a reason to make a pit stop and spend more time together. So, well done Patamon. And they get off at Shibuya, the famous Shibuya district. We meet Gotsumon and Pumpmon. They are hilarious. They meet a Shibuya girl and try to hit on her. Yamato and Takeru actually end up helping Gotsumon and Pumpmon hide from the Shibuya girl, and they reveal that they have been told to search for the 8th child. But instead of doing that, they're finding Shibuya so much fun that they don't want to. And they want to become Shibuya type Digimon. So, Shibuya style, or Shibuya K, is actually a thing. It's, and I quote, a micro-genre of pop music or a general aesthetic from the mid to late 90s. And then Gotsumon and Pumpmon bring them ice cream. Good guys, Gotsumon and Pumpmon. Uh-oh. Foreboding clouds. And it's motherfucking Myotismon. Or Vamdemon. Take your pick. Vamdemon, like vampire demon? Vamdemon? I see what you did there, Toei. Anyway, Gotsumon and Pumpmon are in trouble, so they turn on Yamato and Takeru under Myotismon's orders. And oh man, there's a reference to Hachiko. Hachiko the dog who would always wait for his master at the Shibuya train station. However, his master died, but Hachiko would still wait for him every day at the train station. And then after Hachiko died, a statue was built of him in front of the Shibuya station. There's actually a Futurama episode heavily inspired by this tale. Season 4, Jurassic Bark. It's a really good episode. Anyway, back to Digimon. Gotsumon and Pumpmon corner Yamato and Takeru. But they don't attack, they don't want to fight. They're good guys at heart. But then Motusmon catches up. And, oh man, he actually kills them. Which do you prefer, Night Raid or Grizzly Wing?
Night Raid! Grizzly Wing!
By the way, this episode differs from the English dubbed episode. In the English dubbed episode, he didn't actually kill them. He sent them to his Dark Prism realm, or some crap.
You had your chance. Now I'm condemning you to my dungeon in the Digiworld.
Now, my old friend, it's time to take a trip to the Shadow Realm.
So yeah, if you didn't know, Yu-Gi-Oh!, the Shadow Realm in Yu-Gi-Oh! Was made up for the English dub, just like this Dark Prison Realm, to be more child-friendly, because they didn't want people to see people getting killed. In the original Japanese version of Yu-Gi-Oh!, they didn't get sent to the Shadow Realm, they got killed. Just like in this one, Pumpmon and Gotsumon died. They didn't get sent to no stupid-ass Dark Prison Realm. Anyway, Yamato understandably gets very angry.
Oh, and you just condemned them for no reason at all!
Oh man, this is kind of heartbreaking. Come on, Garudamon, kick Motusmon's ass. I like how Patamon ends up waiting at the Hachiko statue for Takeru. Kind of like saying that he's also very loyal, even if they did have an argument. He would wait for Takeru forever if he needed to. And oh man, Motusmon completely wrecks Garudamon. But Takeru's feelings reach Patamon and he digivolves. And this is actually the first time we've seen Angemon since he destroyed Devimon. So this is the second time we've ever seen Angemon. It is Angemon versus Motusmon. Let's go! However, Motusmon immediately flees. And then we get a sad montage of Gotsumon and Pumpmon to end the episode. Damn, that's a sad episode. But then we get a Tailmon episode. Ah, yeah. Plotmon. Ah, poor Plotmon. So, when Gatomon was Plotmon, or Salamon, she was bullied by Motusmon. Apparently, Motusmon didn't like her eyes. Okay then, so why does she serve Motusmon? And we meet Wizardmon. Ah, yeah.
Wizardmon.
If I remember correctly, he also has a really cool voice actor. Let's have a quick look. Oh yes, it is motherfucking Akira Ishida. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This guy has so many good roles. He played Gaara in Naruto, he played Seraph in Fairy Tail, and he is Byakuya Togami from Danganronpa. Anyway, swiftly moving on. He teases Tailmon and then he finds the Digivice. Oh boy, but he keeps it a secret from Devimon. Omoshiroi. Devimon also confirms that Wizardmon is one of Tailmon's friends, and so were Pumpmon and Gotsumon. These Digimon are the ones that Gatomon brought into Motusmon's army. So, If there were like factions within Motusmon's ranks, Gatamon's faction would be the not so bad, kind of good guy Digimon. And then we get a news report about some woman collapsing due to anemia. So Motusmon really is going around drinking young woman blood. Super weird. Wizardmon shows the Digivice to Gatamon, and he says that he thinks the secret to the 8th child is hiding in Gatamon's heart. And we get a little backstory for Wizardmon. Gatamon saved Wizardmon, basically. But Gatamon doesn't remember any of this. Back in the flashback, Gatamon mentioned that she was looking for somebody, but now she's forgotten all about it. And oh my god, Hikari! Hikari is the 8th child, and Gatamon is her Digimon. She remembers. She searched for Hikari until Myotismon found her. And Agumon almost stupidly burns Hikari to death, but Gatamon saves her. Oh. And now Taichi is looking after Hikari's Digivice so that Motusmon doesn't find out it's her, and Gatamon and Wizardmon go on a quest to retrieve her crest, which Myotismon keeps with him at all times. So, is it in Myotismon's coffin? Yes, they found it! However, Motusmon returns, and the fight begins. Taichi and Agumon go to help. Aha! Motusmon name drops hope and light when talking about Gatamon's eyes. That's why he hates her eyes. Because he is afraid of light and hope. And Metal Greymon is no match for Motusmon. And then Motusmon kidnaps Gatamon to use as bait to lure out the 8th child. We're speeding towards the finale now. One interesting thing to note here is that Myotismon had ample opportunity to kill Taichi and Agumon, but he didn't bother. This is a recurring theme throughout the series. He's obsessed with the 8th child because the 8th child is the one that's a threat to him. He doesn't care about the others. So, is it season finale time? No, it's not. We need a Lilymon episode first. But we do move the plot along at the same time. We get that music from the film again. Although, I guess at this point it's not music from the film, it's just Digimon music now. Also, we haven't had Pseudomon yet, right? So there should be at least 2 episodes before the finale. Anyway, Motusmon creates a barrier of mist around the city so that the 8th child can't escape. Right, because people and vehicles can't go through mist, right? I'm guessing it's like Silent Hill mist. And the mist does seem to be interfering with the radio waves, seemingly, because it's stopping the TV station that Yamato and Takeru's dad works at from broadcasting. So he goes to investigate. Aha, they are all in Odaiba, which is in Koto City, right next to Ariake, or maybe in Ariake? And the mist is covering Odaiba. And we get a Jurassic Park moment as Yamato's dad and his colleagues are in a car hiding from a Tyrannomon. And then they get attacked by Gizamon. And we see Takeru, who doesn't live in Odaiba, saying that he has to go there to save his dad and Yamato. His mother agrees, but she says that she'll go with him. And then Yamato's dad somehow makes it home and wakes up Yamato. And oh boy, it's Phantomon. He's pretty cool. He's a cool Digimon. Motusmon has been really active now, rounding up the humans.
Humans!
To find the 8th child. His Bakemon pawns even grab Taichi and Hikari's mum. And it's time for the Digidestined's parents to find out the truth as their Digimon protect them. Now, the truth that Digimon is a thing is revealed. Yamato's dad seems pretty nonplussed about Garudamon. He just asks him to look after Yamato while he goes to the radio station to investigate things. And then lots of people get caught, including Sora and Mimi. But the Digidestined and their parents enact a plan to escape. Joe's dad, or I think it's Joe's dad, listens to the sutras when he's stressed, which Sora remembers can hurt Bakemon. Season 1 callback. So she plays them from a radio to ward them off. And when Mimi's dad is in danger, Togemon springs into action. Mimi's crest activates. Oh, fuck yeah, it's Lilymon! And Lilymon actually turns Tyrannomon into a good guy. Whoa! And then Motusmon turns up and kills him. Oh man, what an asshole. Not very pog, Motusmon. You know, Myotismon is an interesting villain. He's very well made. He doesn't kick everyone's asses to show off his power like Etemon and Devimon did. He spends most of his time in the shadows away from the limelight, and we deal with his minions. This does in fact build him up at the same time as the one who commands all these evil Digimon, and we do eventually see that he is powerful enough to kick all of the Digidestined to the curb by himself. But he's built up differently to the other villains. His threat seems to come from his plans and his army. and we haven't seen the ultimate forms of our main Digimon fight him yet. So as a viewer at the time, you may have hope that they could potentially defeat him, because Modusmon makes sure that he never falls into a situation where he has to fight them. It's very well done. We still at this point have no idea how strong Motusmon truly is. And now it's time for Joe's episode. Joe and Takeru aren't in Odaiba, but worry not, because Joe meets up with Takeru and they enter by sea. Hikari thinks that Wizardmon is dead, because he was dropped in the river. Come on now, he's wet, he's not dead. And it's Mega Seadramon, not to be confused with Metal Seadramon, who is the Mega evolution of Seadramon. Mega Seadramon is the ultimate evolution of Seadramon. Anyway, Joe's responsibility shines forth as he saves Takeru and sacrifices himself, because I think Joe can't swim, another Season 1 callback. He sinks into the depths, allowing a Kakumon to digivolve. Hell yeah, it's time for Thor the Digimon. It's Sudamon. The hammer is actually called the Thor hammer too. Nice. He kicks Mega Seadramon's ass, and they make their way through the mist to Odaiba. And on their way, Joe and Takeru find Wizardmon. Nice. And he's still got the crest. All the humans are being held captive at Big Sight, which is a actual building in Ariake. Anyway, the battle ensues. Sora has reunited with Yamato and they are fighting Phantomon. But Hikari turns herself in to stop them being hurt. Uh-oh. And they take her to Myotismon. Is it time? Season finale time? Or like kind of season finale? This season kind of has 2 finales. So this Big Sight, it's a pretty cool place. It's an exhibition centre and it looks just like it does in the anime. Apparently Big Sight was the broadcast centre and press centre for the Olympics, the 2020 Olympics that were delayed to 2021. Super, super cool. Who would have thought that the main location in subjectively the best story arc of Digimon Adventure would end up being home to the Olympics the same year that Digimon Adventure had a reboot. It's a very cool coincidence. And both the Olympics and Digimon Adventure ended up being delayed. The Olympics was delayed to 2021. Digimon Adventure 2020 did start in 2020. It got up to episode 5 and then had a massive delay. I'm pretty sure I made a video on it. That was like, what, 2 years ago? Bloody hell. But sadly, Myotismon didn't turn up in either Digimon Adventure 2020 or the 2020/2021 Olympics. Anyway, all the Digidestined make their way to Big Sight. By the by, after I finished this Digimon Adventure series, so like after the Dark Masters arc, I'm going to have to do a video about the voice actors of Digimon. Because there are some really iconic voice actors from Digimon, and they've done some very interesting things. And that's only the ones that I know right now. There's some that I haven't even looked up, so that would be very interesting to do. I might even look at the English voice actors if they did anything noteworthy. I mean, we've already got Akira Ishida and Takahiro Sakurai, both some amazing voice actors. Anyway, everyone reunites, and they find out that Hikari is the 8th Digidestined, and that Gatomon is her Digimon. Myotismon, Hikari, and Gatomon are together, and Motusmon is about to attack Hikari and Gatomon when... the good guys come to the rescue. Alright, this is actually the big fight. Big fight at Big Sight. Yeah, I'm sorry. Motusmon is seemingly literally untouchable. Motusmon overpowers everyone. He seems unbeatable. Until Angemon appears, and Angemon actually hurts him. Is Angemon stronger than all the Ultimates, even though he's just a champion? Or is it because he's holy and Motusmon is dark? I guess that's it. By the way, did Angemon just one-shot Phantomon, an ultimate level Digimon, when he wasn't even aiming at him? Holy shit. Anyway, Motusmon turns his attention to Hikari and Gatomon once more. But Wizardmon jumps in the way. And this time, it looks like he's actually done for.
Wizardmon, you're gonna be alright. Please don't leave.
Thank you for everything, Garudamon.
Wizardmon, are you okay?
Of course he's not okay, you stupid child. What? She's a fictional character. Anyway, Hikaru's Crest of Sadness activates. I mean light, a crest of light. And it's Girl Angimon, or Angiwomon. Angiwomon re-energizes everybody and absorbs their attacks and turns it into her holy arrow. Goodbye Myotismon. So long and thanks for all the Digifish. Even though this is essentially the same ending as Angimon vs Devimon, I do like it. It was pretty awesome. Motusmon is defeated. However, the fog hasn't disappeared. There's still something devious going on. This isn't actually the finale, even though it kind of was in its own way. There are two main events in this arc. This fight with Angiwoman defeating Motusmon, and then the next fight, which is mainly here to introduce us to Mega level Digimon and transition us into the next story arc.
That wasn't so tough after all. Great!
Really, Joe? Really? You literally did nothing in this fight. Oh, and I love this doozy in the English dub.
What if we just made him stronger?
Is Myotismon truly gone, or has he digivolved to a more powerful form? Find out on the next Digimon Digital Monsters.
Absolutely abysmal spoilers, guys. Whoever was in charge of putting that in gets an F grade. And now it's prophecy time. When the clock strikes the number of the beast, the undead king will rise. Angels will shoot their loved ones and some more cryptic shit. From Genai. The humans. Modusmon has gathered up are all unconscious. Also, there are these devil bats flying around. They've got an A on their head, or is it an upside down V for Valemon? It's probably an upside down V, right? Apparently the bats are part of the prophecy. First the sky will be concealed by a flock of bats. Okay. Meanwhile, Koshiro's parents tell him he's adopted, but he already knew. Koshiro's real father was a genius, and apparently he and Koshiro's mother both died. Whoa, Jesus, this is dark. Anyway, the dad was a distant relative of Koshiro's adopted dad, so they adopted him because their own kid died. Whoa, this is a bit much, Toei. What the hell, guys? Then the unconscious humans wake up and start chanting Myotismon's name. Also, the bats are eating the dead Digimon to empower Motusmon even more. And the clock hits 666. And Motusmon is born. The actual final fight begins. And he ends up eating Devimon, lol. So Devimon has spent the whole arc serving Motusmon and being scared of failing him when it turns out he was going to die either way. Poor Devimon. Where Garudamon and Metal Greymon stand no chance, of course. Gatomon assures everyone that only she and Patamon need to join the fight. Although Koshiro goes as well, so he can basically explain things for us, the viewers. He finds out that Venom Myotismon is a mega level, which in Japanese is ultimate level. In Japanese it's baby, child, adult, perfect and ultimate. In English it's in training, rookie, champion, ultimate and mega. Not confusing at all, right? I think this is the first time we ever find out about mega level Digimon. And he and his parents and Tentomon figure out the prophecy. The angels need to shoot Yamato and Taichi. So they do it! Oh boy, imagine if this actually just killed them. That would be hilarious. But it doesn't, it works, and oh yeah, it's time for Warp Evolution. Enter War Greymon and Metal Garudamon. A very, very cool moment. And it's cliffhanger time. This season finale is a two-parter. Or arguably, even a three-parter with the Motusmon vs Angiwoman episode. Even the episode before that led into that. All the episodes have been linked together really well. This saga is really well done. So, episode 39, the final episode of the Myotismon saga. And it's time for War Greymon and Metal Garudamon vs Venom Myotismon. Oh man, Tentomon, if only you knew how right you were, buddy. That's right, the rest of you poor assholes aren't getting your mega forms until Digimon Adventure Tree. I love that this fight feels big. You have like these three titanic forces having a fight. And then everyone else actually joins in. Despite only being champion level, they send their attacks which all converge on Venom Motusmon's abdomen. And War Greymon drills a hole right through him. The true face of evil being the really bad choice of dubbing for this. Oh my god. So here's the Japanese version. And here's the English version again. Seriously? It's so bad. Anyway, this new evil looking ball of fun pukes up some evil darkness, and it looks like it's the end. But no worries, time for another miracle. Everyone's crests start glowing, and together they defeat Motusmon with football? Yes, football. Wargreymon kicks this spherical building into Venom Motusmon's second mouth, and then fires a Terror Force as Metal Garudamon shoots a Cocytus breath? Cocytus, right. And they destroy him. Okay, so what does Cocytus mean? Cocytus is the river of wailing in the underworld in Greek mythology. Well, alrighty then. The more you know. And I bet it's not pronounced Cocytus. Anyway. Everyone wakes up and Gatomon de-digivolves into Salamon, or Plotmon, who is also super cute. And the mist clears. Well done, everyone. But wait, what's that in the sky? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's tears into the upside down digital world. No! Yeah, he's definitely dead. So a plane is about to crash, but the Digidestined fly to the rescue, or rather, Birdramon and then Garudamon does. Also, a Karugamon invades the human world. Kuragamon, not Karugamon. And then we find out that there were Digimon invading all over the world. It seems like the distortions affecting the digital world that led to everything happening in the first place have simply gotten worse, because they returned to the human world without fixing them, although they didn't really have a choice. And it's been several days since then, so in the digital world, it's been several years. So the Digidestined return to the digital world, and it's time to end the Myotismon saga. Review time, baby! It's an S grade. An S grade from me. I really can't give it anything else. Back when I was doing the Devimon and the Etemon saga, I was thinking to myself, was the Motusmon saga really that much better than these two? Because it had been a really long time since I've seen it after all. It's the longest story arc as well, and it's split into two halves, the digital world and the human world. And after watching it all through, yeah, it actually is better than the other two by far. It's got such a good story that's told. Even though the story arc is super long, each episode is really good. And each episode works so well to tell the greater overall story. It's really, really damn good. If you haven't seen it for, say, 10 or 20 years, you should definitely rewatch it again. It's well worth it. And if you've only seen the English dub, then it's worth watching the sub. And if you've only seen the sub, maybe watch the dub for the lols? This was a wild ride. It was honestly fantastic. The only thing it's really let down by, I suppose, is the technology of its time. Like, you know, the graphics aren't as good as we can do nowadays, and it's a 4:3 aspect ratio. But even so, it's aged pretty well. There aren't really any bad moments graphic-wise, and the music is still amazing to this day, and the voice acting is damn good. So, I did mention that I was going to do a voice actors of Digimon video. But while I've got you here, there is one voice actor we do need to check out before I end the video. The star of this story arc. The villain that no one will ever forget. That's right. Devimon. No, just kidding. He can wait. I mean Myotismon. Or Valemon. So, the Japanese voice actor for Valemon is Ryuseburo Otomo. And he played Crocodile in One Piece. And he was Dabura in Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, both of those suit him pretty well. The rest of his roles I don't really recognise, sadly. These are the two that stand out to me right now. He also had a very, very small role in Bleach, actually, as one of the heads of that Arrancar, that Espada, Araniero, Aruriero? However you pronounce his name. Alright, so, you know what? Let's look at the English voice actor too. So, he played Ansem from the Kingdom Hearts series, although not the original Ansem from Kingdom Hearts. He voiced Ansem from Kingdom Hearts 2 onwards. Now, the original Ansem was awesome, but this guy is still pretty damn good. He's got a good voice. Oh, and if you play Final Fantasy XIV, he voices Gaius, which is pretty cool. And he plays Joseph Joestar in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3 and onwards. I've never actually watched the dubbed version of JoJo, so let's take a quick look.
I'm not doing this just to wear myself out, you know.
Huh?
I'm running so I can kill you.
Yeah, his voice is a good fit. So I think that is it. I don't think I have anything more to say about the Motusmon saga. I'd just be repeating myself by saying how good I think it is and how much I love it. Whoops. So, what's next in the books? It is of course the Dark Master story arc, the final arc of Digimon Adventure. Now I do remember this arc being disappointing, mainly because all the other Digimon didn't get their Mega Forms, which is, I think, what we were all expecting to happen. You know, we have War Greymon and Metal Garudamon now, so why wouldn't we get the Mega Forms for the other Digimon? But let's see if I see it in a different light, now that I know what I'm expecting, now that I've got a more mature mind and lessened expectations. And after all that, I would of course be doing the film Digimon Our War Game, or Digimon Children's War Game, and that will truly bring the Digimon adventure story to a close. A good ending point, methinks, and a really damn good movie. As for what's after that, I myself am not sure. I could jump straight into Digimon Adventure 02. I do want to review all of Digimon eventually, but perhaps I'll push that back and visit some other anime, some shorter anime. So, with that said, until my next video, see you all next time.